Alright, bet. What's good? It's your boy LJ back again with another video, and today we putting Shaq in the 2023 NBA draft, and we're gonna let his career play out in today's NBA and see how it go. Alright, so Shaq ended up being the first pick in the 2023 draft, bro. The Spurs ended up picking him over Wemby, and I ain't gonna lie, he let it be known immediately that they made the right decision, because my dog was going crazy this year. I'm not gonna lie, he was playing great. He ended up averaging 22 points per game, 14 rebounds, and 3 blocks, really, bro. And on top of that, he was an all-star this year, his rookie year. He was going crazy. He ended up winning Rookie of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year, bro. It's been a great rookie season for him, but unfortunately, you know what I'm saying, this is one small problem. The San Antonio Spurs, they ass. I'm gonna be honest with you. They ended up missing the playoffs. They didn't even make the play-in on top of that, but hey, it is what it is. In the offseason, Shaq didn't waste no time. He was back in the gym grinding, trying to get right for next season, and his teammates followed his lead, bro. They was locked in watching film and everything, bro, and all that hard work paid off, because when the season started, he was a 90 overall, and he was having a great year once again, bro. He also ended up winning Defensive Player of the Year again for the second year in a row, and the Spurs, things were starting to click for him, bro. It wasn't perfect, like, not at all, you feel me? But they ended up being the 8th seed in the West, and now they ended up playing going against the Denver Nuggets. And Shaq ended up having a good game versus the Nuggets, but the Spurs ended up coming up short in that game, and they ended up losing, but they got another opportunity to make it to the playoffs. This time they going against the Sacramento Kings, but De'Aaron Fox wasn't having that, bro. I'm not gonna lie, he played great. 32 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. D Fox and the Kings was going crazy, bro. They ended up beating the Spurs 127-106, and as you can see, Shaq was going through it, bro, but hopefully they can make something happen next season. 3, Shaq and the Spurs had another good season once again, and a big reason for that was because they added Jalen Brunson to the team, and they ended up finishing 6th in the West this year, and Shaq won Defensive Player of the Year for the 3rd year in a row. And now Shaq and the Spurs on their way to face the Warriors in the first round. In Shaq's playoff debut, it was no disappointment at all, bro. He was dominant. I'm talking about first game, 38 points, 15 rebounds, 3 steals, 3 blocks. Not gonna lie, they was not stopping him at all, bro, and that's the reason why the Spurs ended up winning this series 4-1, and now they on their way to the second round. In the second round, Shaq and the Spurs ended up going against the Houston Rockets, bro, and I'm not gonna lie, in game 1, the Spurs played great. Everybody did their part on the team, but the Spurs had a hard time trying to stop Jalen Green plus Jabari Smith Jr. I'm not gonna lie, them boys was going crazy, and they ended up winning that series 4-2 to send the Spurs home, unfortunately, bro. But let's see what Shaq and the Spurs do next season. Bro, they did bad. I'm gonna be honest, bro. Besides Shaq, he had his best season so far, though. You know what I'm saying? 27 points per game, 15 rebounds, 3 blocks. He had a great year once again. But the Spurs, the rest of the team, hot garbage, bro. They was terrible. You know what I'm saying? They went from being the 6th seed last year to not making it to the playoffs at all this year, bro. Shaq and the Spurs got to a slow start. Yeah, it was until they ended up trading Jalen Brunson for Jonathan Kuminga, and he instantly made an impact, bro. First game, he dropped 36 points, 8 rebounds, bro. It looked like the Spurs made the right decision because they went from being the 10th seed in the West to the 5th seed. So now, let's see what they can do in the playoffs. In the first round, Shaq and the Spurs ended up going against the Houston Rockets, and I'm not gonna lie, they dominated this series, bro. 4-0. The boys never stood a chance. Shaq was going crazy, Jonathan Kuminga, everybody, bro. But in the second round, when he went against the #1 seed, OKC, it was the exact opposite. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. It was really bad. I thought they was gonna at least win one game at least, bro. I mean, Shaq still played well though. 27 points per game, 11 rebounds, 2 blocks that series. It was pretty good for him. But really, don't none of it matter, bro, because they still got swept. Tragic. This year in the regular season, Shaq and the Spurs had a great year, bro. I'm not gonna lie, this was the best season so far since Shaq been in the Spurs, bro. They finished 2nd in the Western Conference, bro, and they continue playing great in the first round of playoffs versus the Clippers this year, bro. And I really started to think that this was gonna be the year that they was gonna make it to the finals, bro, and win it all, bro. But boy, I thought wrong, because they lost again in the second round. It's just terrible. Now this year they had an even better season than they did last year. They ended up finishing 1st in the Western Conference, and in the first round of playoffs this year, they ended up going against the Utah Jazz, the 8th seed Utah Jazz. And although they went all the way to game 7, bro, versus the 8th seed. I'm worried right now, and rightfully so, because in the second round, once they went against the Clippers, bro, they went to game 7 once again, and this time they lost again in the second round, bro. But Shaq, just know he tried his hardest, bro. You know what I'm saying? 43 points, 16 rebounds, 2 blocks. He tried. He did everything he could do. He only one man could do so much, bro. In year 8, Shaq came back once again, have another solid year, and the Spurs as well, who finished 3rd in the Western Conference this year. But honestly, I had no faith that they was gonna do anything in the playoffs, but they soon made me a believer, because in the first round, they blew right past the Utah Jazz when they played them, and in the second round, they went against Luka and the Clippers. But this year, things went their way, and they ended up beating them 4-1 in this series, and now they make their way to the conference finals, which is the furthest Shaq has gotten so far. And now Shaq and the Spurs matching up against Victor Wembanyama and the Portland Trail Blazers, and at this point in this series, this really made me a believer, because I could see that Shaq and the Spurs was on a mission to win it all this year, because they ended up beating the Portland Trail Blazers 4-2 this series, and now Shaq is about to make his first finals appearance in year 8. In the finals, the Spurs ended up going against the Washington Wizards, and I'm not gonna lie, this was their toughest series so far, which I expected. This was a back and forth series. 1 minute the Spurs win a game, then the Wizards win the next one right after that, bro, and it kept going all the way up into game 7, bro. and it was another close game once again. But like I said before, the Spurs on a mission this year, and you could tell that they wanted it more, bro, because in the final minutes of the game, they couldn't be stopped at all. The Wizards had no answers at all, bro. And the Spurs ended up winning game 7, and just like that in year 8, Shaq ended up winning his first championship, and he won Finals MVP as well, which I expected, if I'm being honest with you. But I didn't expect them to even get this far in the first place, if I'm being honest. I thought there was going to be a second round exit once again, but I was wrong, you know what I'm saying? But the question is, can they repeat next season? Now we're in year 9, and this season went in a totally different direction than what the Spurs was hoping for, I'm gonna be honest with you. Now, Shaq still had another good year, and not only him, but the rest of the teammates were starting to step it up too, so that's why it really threw me off, if I'm being honest, because they ended up finishing the 6th seed in the West this year after finishing 3rd last year, bro. And on top of all that, Shaq got injured in the second to last game of the season, bro. Like, they had one more left after that, bro, and now he's out for the rest of the season, bro. And as I expected, the Spurs struggled without having Shaq on the court, and they end up getting eliminated in the first round versus the Pelicans. The next season, the Spurs end up coming back better than ever, bro. They end up being the 2nd seed in the West, and things looking good going into the playoffs. In the first round, the Spurs went against the Houston Rockets, and honestly, that series was sweet for real, because they ended up beating them boys 4-1 that series. But in the second round, Shaq and the Spurs ended up going against Victor Wembanyama and the Portland Trail Blazers again, bro. And this time, it was a totally different story. They ended up sweeping the Spurs 4-0. Trae Young and Victor was going crazy, bro. Shaq was doing his thing too, but it's only so much he could do, I'm not gonna lie to you. But on to next season we go. Alright, the Spurs came back playing good once again, have another good year, finishing with a 60-22 record, and they was 2nd in the West. In the playoffs, the first 2 rounds was going smooth for Shaq and the Spurs until they had to go against the Portland Trail Blazers in the conference finals once again, and they got swept this year. In year 12, Shaq finally won MVP. I think he should have won it a while ago, because this wasn't even his best season so far since he been in the league. But hey, we're gonna take it. And he won Defensive Player of the Year again. This is like the 11th time he won, though, if I'm being honest. And the Spurs finished 1st in the Western Conference this year, so they feeling great going into the playoffs once again. In the playoffs, the Spurs continue dominating just like they did in the regular season, and they end up making their way back to the conference finals once again, this time versus the Warriors, and they end up beating them 4-1 this series, and now they're on their way back to the finals once again. Now in the finals, they end up going against the Chicago Bulls, and honestly, they got off to a slow start in this series, I'm gonna be honest with you. But after game 4, they realized they had to put their foot on the gas, and once they did, they didn't let up at all, bro. And they ended up forcing a game 7, and in game 7, they continue playing great once again. And just like that, the Spurs ended up coming back from a 3-1 lead and ended up becoming NBA champions once again. And Shaq was Finals MVP also, which we knew. But yeah, that was a great way for Shaq to end off his MVP season. Alright, this year in the regular season, Shaq and the Spurs had another successful season, but not so much in the playoffs, because they ended up losing to the Sacramento Kings in the second round this year, which is tough. But Shaq is also becoming a free agent this season, so let's see what he do. Alright, so Shaq ended up taking his time to the Charlotte Hornets, and he ended up teaming up with Tyrese Halliburton, and they had a good year finishing 1st in the Eastern Conference this year. But in the playoffs, Shaq didn't really seem like himself, bro, and I think that's a big reason why they end up losing in the conference finals to the Atlanta Hawks. But let's see if he can bounce back. In Shaq's 15th season, he played okay, but the Hornets really didn't do much at all, bro. It really was a failure of a season, if I'm being honest. But next year, he came back better than ever, looking like his old self again, bro. He ended up winning MVP once again, but unfortunately, he couldn't lead his team to a championship this year because they ended up losing in the first round to the Brooklyn Nets. Shaq's next few seasons was alright, but he was really on the decline at this point, and really he was just detrimental to the young guys on the team. And after his 20th season, he ended up calling it quits and retired from the NBA. Alright, so here goes some of the things that Shaq accomplished while playing in today's NBA. He was a 2-time MVP, 2-time NBA champ, 2-time Finals MVP. He was an All-Star 18 times. He won Defensive Player of the Year 14 times. All-Defensive First Team 17 times. All-NBA 16 times. And he was Rookie of the Year. He got his jersey retired with both the Spurs and the Charlotte Hornets as well, 32 and 34. And as far as his total points, he ended up being 12th with 33,522 points. And rebounds, he was ranked 3rd, finishing with 17,639 rebounds. And with blocks, he was ranked number 2, finishing with 3,428 blocks. But yeah, that's pretty mostly everything that he accomplished in today's NBA. Honestly, he could have had more MVPs and championships and all that, but it is what it is, bro. But I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you did, you know what I'm saying? You could leave a like, you know what I'm saying? If you want to, you can subscribe, you could comment, all that. If you want to leave a dislike, you could. It's your life, you know what I'm saying? But I appreciate it if you don't, though, for real. But anyways, though, for real, it's your boy Legend. I'm not trying to be smooth.